Hello, Mike. This is Michael Kerr from Ontario, Canada again. Um, I have been one of these people who have seen the Zeitgeist movie. It's one of those head scratchers. You have to really turn your thinking inside out sometimes. Um, if you haven't seen any of this kind of stuff, you might just outright reject it and walk away from it. But I felt I needed to watch all the stuff that they had to say from beginning to end, just so that I would have that contextual knowledge. When other people talk about the Zeitgeist movie, I'd be able to know what they're talking about. Um, People have been talking about this movie before, and I didn't know what they were talking about, so I had to see it for myself. Do I believe all of it? No, that's up for debate. But it's one part of many parts uh, to my particular strategy. In one of my other responses to you, I talked about growing worms on purpose as a vermiculturalist. I do that so that I can get the compost from it and use it as fertilizer for my organic gardening. I garden my own food. I obviously have too small of a place to be able to grow all my own food. I would love to be able to do that, but I simply do not have the space or the capacity to grow all my own food. Thus, we must, as a community, support our farmers who are still out there farming to be able to find some means of relocalizing our way of life. Big government is going to fall. Uh, it, it can't be sustained the way things are going. I've written a book on peak oil. I know a little bit about the possibilities out there, the alternatives. And the alternatives do not look all that good, but it also means that the large scale governments that we've had for many, many years are not going to be able to be sustainable. We don't have the energy or the time, effort, money, resources, whatever you want to call it, to sustain the big governments. Everything is going to be going back down to the local level. Um, I don't even know if we'd be able to keep things on the provincial level. That might even be difficult. Canada is such a wide, open area with so few people in it that the only way that we've managed to survive for as long as we've been here is to ship raw goods to the States and to other places. That's been our main transport, is raw goods and food. Um, we've got the space and the mineral resources and everything else to do that. In an economy like this, where nobody wants to buy the raw goods, um, they will buy our raw food. That they will do because they're going to need it. But any of the other things, I don't see things picking up. And what we need to do, uh, you know, in my humble opinion, is to go after the governments now to force them to allow us all to be able to grow hemp. Industrial hemp is what I'm talking about. And in the case of people who want to grow their own medicine, I would also strongly urge medical marijuana. It is one of those drugs that no one has ever died from. And it's also one of those things that where it's something that you can grow yourself, and it grows anywhere. It grows cheaply. Um, you don't have to pay big bucks to a chemical company to make the drug for you. It's good for pain, it's good for glaucoma, it's good for a whole bunch of things. And that is going to be the trade medium of the future, will be hemp, marijuana, local foods, eggs, if you can find space for chickens. Um, Eggs will be a big commodity, potatoes, anything that is a good solid staple food, corn, things that can store easily, doesn't need refrigeration. Um, it's our whole entire way of life is changing. And we were at the forefront of that. We're the last generation of the easy does it crowd, where we're able to basically kind of live off of what has gone on before, where we've always expected an increase in our incomes, an increase in the cost or price of our houses, and owning a house and kind of expecting that to be like your savings account, where the cost of your house goes up every year, and the ability to be able to sell it quickly and easily is no longer available. We're going to have to start our own money systems, local bartering systems, and people are not going to be prepared for this. So we're also going to need a whole lot of stress management people, people who know how to relax, chill out, and get other people to do the same thing. There's going to be a lot of lawlessness, riots. A lot of people are going to be going hungry, and when people get hungry, it's not going to be a pretty sight out there. There's going to be death on a wide scale, and we have been overdue for a major flu pandemic, I guess is the term they call it. Certain illnesses go in cycles, and that's one that we're overdue for. So there's going to be a culling of the herd of humans, and as much as that frightens me personally, at the same time I have to accept it because that's part of life, and it's part of overshooting the capacity of the planet to be able to sustain us. If we could find a way of having a sustainable population and a sustainable way of living, a lifestyle, where everybody gets to eat well and has proper, suitable housing, that would be great, and it's a nice utopia, but it hasn't ever happened, and I don't see it happening until a large portion of the population is dead or dying. The Earth simply has not been able to sustain more than approximately 1 billion people at any one time. I'm going by pre-industrial kind of census around the world. There's approximately 1 billion people that would be sustainable at a pre-industrial level. We can do a few things with our knowledge of technology that would sustain maybe twice that number or maybe 3 times that number. But 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 billion people, I just don't see it. I don't see that it's possible without us turning to cannibalism and turning to very, very, very strict rationing. I simply do not see it. I am grateful to be living in the land of plenty. I live in Canada. I'm surrounded by farms. I'm also surrounded by Great Lakes, all freshwater lakes. We have most of the fresh water in all of Canada. It happens to be right surrounding me. I could walk in any direction and eventually walk into water. Um,